Welcome back to digital class, and this is a discussion for our booklet reproduction in plants and animals. And now we're looking at this question together. So here say that Judy planted the seed of plant M into a pot of damp soil and observed its growth for 8 days. She recorded the masses of seed leaf and the shoot of the seedlings over 8 days. And the recorded result is shown in the graph below. So you can see that we are actually, this person, Judy, recorded two things. First is the seed leaves, the mass of the seed leaf, and the mass of the shoot. So, and you can see that one is going down, the mass is going down, one is going up. So in order to identify which one is going up, which one is going down, we must first identify what are the changes that happen to seed leaf and shoot during germination. So let's try to draw the diagram. I mean, we know that at first there's a seed, then the seed will slowly grow the root. Then after growing the root, it will grow the shoot. Then you know that slowly you have something like this, and then you actually can see some of the seed leaves coming up. Seed leaves. Then you know that you grow something called the first true leaves, right? Okay, the first true leaf. Now, you need to understand that seed leaves, what's the function of these seed leaves? The function of these seed leaves is actually to provide nutrients or provide food, supply food. Means that at first, these seeds are not able to make its own food. So seed leaf is actually providing food. Then until a point of time, seed leaf is not needed anymore. It will actually shrink and fall off. I mean, by hearing this, I think it's kind of obvious that you know that mass of the seed leaf is actually going down, right? And you actually can observe the root. This is the shoot, sorry. The shoot is actually growing, growing, and growing. So we actually can identify line A is actually the shoot, and line B is actually the seed leaf. Okay, so now the question A now asks, which line A or B shows a change in mass of the seed leaf? So I mean you can explain very clearly now because you know. You can say that, let me just type instead. So you can explain here. Okay, wait down. So you can say line B. Why line B? I mean, you know now. So let me just check it. Line B. After a period of time, the seed leaf will decrease in mass as it, why? Because it supplies food to the seed. It supplied food to the seedlings for germination. And the seedling later will grow what? Will grow the first true leaves. And the seed leaf will shrink and fall. Okay, because it doesn't depend it doesn't need that anymore. Okay, so I think that's good, and that's basically what happened here. So now let's look at the next part. Now, Judy prepared 3 setups A, B, C using identical seeds from plant M as shown in diagram below. So let's come back to this. She wanted to find out if the number of seeds will affect the growth of germinating seeds. So I mean, you know the aim of the experiment is here. to find out if the number of seeds affect the growth of the germinating seeds. Once you see this, you actually know very clearly what is your MV, as what I mentioned, RV, and CV. Again, MV is manipulating variable. It's something we call it as something that need to be changed. RV is something we need to see or observe or basically, yeah. And CV is basically something that is the same. Now, here, the experiment here is using another words, say independent variable and dependent variable. You might be like, huh, teacher, what is this? Basically, it's the same. Independent variable, it just basically means MV. Dependent variable basically means RV. That's all, okay? Just think in this way, simple. As you can see, it actually gives you tips. Change variable, something that need to be changed. So since we have the aim, it's actually very easy to find out. The number of seeds will affect the growth of the germinating seed. So basically, we are actually checking what? MV is actually the number of seeds, right? The number of seeds in what? In where? The number of seeds in each pot or in each setup. Now, the next thing is asking, what is our responding variable? What's our dependent variable, right? Dependent variable or responding variable RV basically is the growth of the germinating seed. But how can we know the growth? How can we see the growth? We can see the growth by observing the height. So the responding variable here, RV, is the height of the seedlings. Now, what are the things we need to ensure is the same so that it's actually make sure it's fair. It's a fair experiment. I mean, the amount of soil, right? Amount of soil given. Obviously, it's kind of like the, or maybe if you want to add more, maybe you can say it's actually also the amount of water given because it's something that affect, right? Amount of water given. And maybe if you think more, maybe you should provide and put it in the same location. Why? Because same location or the location of the pot or the setup. Because the same location ensure the same light amount, same oxygen, same temperature, all these things, right? Okay. So now let's come back to here. B1, independent variable. So as you can see here, this is basically our independent variable. I'll just type here for you also. Oops. Our independent variable is the number of seeds in each setup. Okay, I'll just write the number of seeds in each setup. So what is our dependent variable? The height of the seedlings. The next part, which setup should she use in order to conduct a fair test? So now we have A, B, C, right? So which one you need to use? I mean, this is kind of obvious, like, because we must make sure the amount of seeds is different. So you can't put A and B, right? And we must make sure it's to be fair, so we must have the same amount of soil. So A and C is basically exactly what we want. So A and C. So setup A and C. Now D, state another variable that must be kept the same to ensure the fair test. I mean, if you look at here carefully, basically we have actually explained here. You can just write amount of soil, amount of water, or the location of this setup should be placed at the same. Okay, so I mean, I will just write here the amount of soil. the amount of soil in this case. Okay. So I think it's basically a kind of easy question, but again, you must identify, how this structure of this experiment works. So again, something to know is we learn about MV, RV, CV, and we have something called IV, independent variable, which is exactly the same as manipulated variable. So the same. Dependent variable is the same as responding variable. So don't need to be afraid if you see new terms. Okay, that's all for this question. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.